Get your special sock out, nerds. This gonna get good.
And I am Iron Man.
What is going on, everyone? I am Paul Thayer. I am live with my guy, the #1 Kickstarter single selling issue of all time. Present to you, Kevin. How you doing today, Kevin?
Pretty good, man. Dude, that music was intense. I love it.
Yeah, I originally, when I did my first Kickstarter, I had someone dub a audio that I could use for all the videos. So
That's
like
awesome.
That was the audio we went with, and it needs to explode, you know? So
It works, man. I'm exploded right now.
Yeah, hyped up, ready to go. This is the middle of the week. How's your week going so far?
Great. It's super busy, obviously, with all the Kickstarter stuff. Now we're working on like the hunting and also finishing the book at the same time and juggling all the thousand things and also planning our 2026 because we have more planned for Swat Kats and other licenses as well and original books. So a lot of things going on, but it's all great. You know, it's like the last week before the end of the week, the year with all the holidays. So it's kind of like this is the last moment that you can get things done. So it's hardcore, but that's the way it goes with comics.
Now, you've been in the industry for quite some time, and you've worked with massive publishing. You helped start that up. You've worked with Whatnot and all those great things. And what made you say, hey, I'm going to go out on my own. I'm going to get a license. I'm going to try something new. What is that thought process like?
Yeah, I mean, I've been like a publisher for close to 10 years with different companies. I started, sold, left, etc. But and for a long time, the issue I always had is just for me that like what I really like is actually creating books and focusing on like making one right. And the problem with being a publisher is like, well, you don't have time to really create. And at the same time, the purpose of a publisher is bringing books to the market. And just all the business model work in the traditional publishing way is you can't just do like, 1, 3, 4, 5 books. You need to put out a shit ton of books to be sure to actually you make enough money because you're not making 100%. You share with the creators, the licensors and everything. So there is not much, especially with all the retailers, distributors going on it. There is not much left on a book. So it's all about the quantity. It's not really about making a project that matter and really taking your time and bringing it to the level that you want. And for me, I really wanted to focus on just production because that's what I like to do. That's what I think I'm good at. And obviously with marketing, because when you get into Kickstarter, you're not a full publisher, but it's sort of self-publishing in a way. But I will work with traditional publishers for all the mass market of my books. But yeah, no, it's just like I really wanted to focus on like making one project top tier and really focus on the marketing as well and go all in that way. Because like every other industries, because the comic book, I love retailers, I love comic book retailers, but like something that we always been kind of afraid to face in comics, and with reason, because we have all this infrastructure of like traditional comic book shop and you don't want them to close. Like the thing that hurt me the most in my life was when video store disappeared. Like, fuck, I'm a Blockbuster dude. And I don't want the comic book shop to go away for the same reason. But as creators, the margin are getting thinner and thinner. Printing cost is getting higher. Obviously, the cost of life is higher. So when you hire an artist, you hire anyone on your team. Well, the rates are up just because, like, well, they need to put food on the table. It's normal. So as producers, as writers, because most of the time, fans don't know that, but most of the time the writer is also the producer of the book. And you need to find the maximum of ways to actually monetize your thing. And that's kind of the problem of the traditional market. It's shrinking. And at the same time, there will never be like the audience has a limitation. Yes, there is the absolute Batman and all those type of books that will do the 300,000 plus comics. But even if we are realistic about it, it's not 300,000 fans that bought it. It's, like a 10% super hardcore comic book guy that probably bought 100 copies with all the covers, like 10, the incentive and shit. The resellers and the retailers that go hard on the exclusive and incentive. So it's probably like 100,000 people maximum when you reach out, when you have like the biggest book possible, like that share all the pie. So when you shrink to smaller and smaller IPs, well, a book could cost you like, an issue could cost you like from 6,000 to 25, 26 or whatever thousand, depending on the artist to produce. And your capacity as a creator is probably selling to 1,000 people maximum. When we talk about indie, and then you go from a range of like 1,000 to 5 to a 5 to 15, and then you get into the more mass market stuff. So that's a freaking long answer for the question. But what I wanted to say was that I think the system is broken. And just being a publisher for years, I made this model to actually answer to myself, like how to actually make this thing work, to be financially viable for me, for the creators working with me, for the licensors working with me, for everyone involved, even for the publishers that will work with my production, because, well, the production cost is fully paid. There is no risk, and I bring you banger books. So everyone win at the end.
So when you have, so for example, you have Swat Kats, right? So Swat Kats, you acquire this IP through licensing. How does something like that work? Like when you're looking for something, you found Swat Kats. What was the next step for you to obtain that?
Well, it's case by case. Like not every IP is available. When it comes to Swat Kats, it's really different than like any other traditional IPs. Because like I'm working directly with the creators of the TV show that got their right back from of the IP. So it's and that one's great because it's kind of like it's a license, but at the same time there is like a sense of like creator on at the same time, because I'm dealing directly with the creators, and they're working on the stories with us, bringing design to it, doing all the approval and everything. So it's really like a collaboration. So different in other licensed in a way, still a licensing deal, but they are super involved. After when it comes to a license, and that's the thing I always say to any creators asking like, how do you get those licenses? Or like, how do you work with this creator or whatever? And my answer is always, I just fucking DM people.
Yep. 100%.
It's nothing more than that. Or send an email if it's like more corporate or whatever. But that's there is no secret. Like I wish I could tell people like a freaking huge secret of all the industry work, and it's not even an industry thing. I think in every businesses, that's how it works. You just send messages to people and you ask. Most of the people are actually waiting for that. If your plan makes sense, if you have like something to offer, you will find someone who will say yes, probably to your proposition. If they say no, well, it's just a learning experience, and you can use that to go to another thing. And sometimes even like reaching out to someone will lead to another direction that actually will be even better. And they will be like, oh fuck, I don't want to work on the art of your book, but I know my buddy, blah blah blah, that will be interested. Or license could be you reach a licensor for IP, and they tell you, oh, it's already taken, or the rights are too complicated, but we got this thing that you have not thought about, and they will be like, oh shit, why not? Let's do it.
I feel like it's, shooting your shot. People don't understand, sending that email, sending that message, maybe they'll read it, but maybe that fourth or fifth message or that fifth email gets through, and you have someone, to interact with, and people are waiting, to hear from you for sure. So when something like Swat Kats that you got that, I remember you were hyping it up. Now your aspect in running the production, what is it for Swat Kats? Your production, like your role in that is what?
Well, I wear a lot of hats.
Tell them all. Let's do them.
No, for sure. So I'm co-producing with the Tremblay brothers who created the show back then. So personally on my side is really like from the writing, creating the books, really writing the thing with the script. I did work with Frank Barbier, which is an excellent writer. We have co-written the book. That's awesome. But after is really dealing with finding the right talents to be sure that the book it right. For example, Warwick Corona. To me, that was the guy that needed to make it. And in Warwick, we have been friends for a while now because we were invited like I think 2 years ago to Storm the Block, which was a conversation in Abu Dhabi. convention.
I remember it was a sick convention. You were outside. They had the special banners for you, right? It looked sick.
Crazy.
I remember seeing that picture.
That shit was incredible. I will go back anytime. But yeah, I met Warrior there, and I was always like, man, we're gonna do a project together. Like he was doing covers for me and shit, but you know, he's so busy. He was on a run of Transformers for like 12 issues at Skybound. And now he's doing Lobo for DC, and well, Lobo just popped in the trailer, so that's gonna be huge again. So he's doing bangers after bangers. But I was like, man, can you do just one book? Like, and I tell him like, I'm sure you will say no because you're too busy, not that you don't want to do it, but like it's Swat Kat, and he tell me, oh fuck, man, that was my show when I was a kid. So we made it work in this crazy schedule too. So. But yeah, so my job, and it's really building the team, finding the right talent, to selecting, and a big part of the comic book business actually like the cover selection as well, what you produce, which artists, what's the direction and everything. So I do all that and manufacture the book together, the marketing. So pretty much, not everything, but close to everything beside drawing actually making the pages.
And you're switching to this type of approach versus where you were before because you want the more profitable aspect of saying, hey, I could wear all these hats. Let's do this. And let me get a team with me so you can maximize your profits.
It's a part of it. It's a part of it, but also just like the traditional publishing is a monster and could be good and could be bad. Like, it's just like, I made it all, and now I understand what I like and what I don't want to touch, and like I really want to be part of the process of making the book from A to Z. And when you do publishing, most of the time, like the book is already done. You just get it from the creators, which is cool because it saves you a lot of time. But like that means that like your job left is pretty much just administration, taking the book, putting it in the distributor, selling it on the Shopify, blah blah blah. Kind of the boring stuff to me. I know some people love it, but to me that's the boring part of making comics. So and also the reason why I'm switching that model, I really like what excites me in comics, and I think I would not be making comics if I would not be doing books like that. Never been to just put books in a pipeline and waiting for issue 1, issue 2 in the catalog, issue 3 in the catalog, issue 4 in the catalog, and nothing more than waiting for sales. I find that fucking boring. To me, what always been exciting about making comic books is actually creating events around every comics. That like every comics feel like Avenger Endgame, coming out. And that's what excites me. Like finding the book that I feel gonna be a banger and gonna go crazy. And now we're getting into like, okay, we're releasing a blockbuster. How do we make it bigger, the biggest as possible? And that's really my new model. I want to make the minimum of books to actually make enough money to live, but at the same time being sure that every time it's something I'm gonna hit right. Obviously, like I can't be always right. I'm sure like through the process there will be something I'm like, it's gonna be fucking huge, and then I make $2 off of it. But it's part of the game too. That's what's exciting about it. I guess I'm not a gambler, but I guess in a sense I have a gambling problem with comics, because I think that's what's exciting to me. Like going after an IP or doing an original ideas that I'm like convinced, going fucking crazy about it, thinking like this is the next fucking big thing, and being so fucking convinced that I'm dropping 1,000 F4 on the podcast because of that. And but no, but I mean that that I'm so excited about it that I believe in myself to a level that like there is no way it failed, and just like the excitement of making the project is what made me wake up in the morning and be excited to do it, just like to prove the world wrong, and just make it the biggest possible.
With you getting, with Swat Kats, it exploded. You had an original goal in mind. I know you briefly said it to me. Of course, I would say it now. You smashed through that, and you hit this crazy goal, which is the number one single issue of all time. When you launch something, you said first, it's the covers is what's important. So I guess we would start there. So for the cover aspect, like when you're looking for covers, is it things that are popping to you on the shelf? Is it people that are popping to you on Instagram? Is it all the above? Is it your friends? How is that working to get that next thing? And how many covers was on this campaign?
I don't even know. I think maybe 10.
Okay, so 10 covers. How do you choose 10 artists out of the 1,000 that are available?
Well, like available is a big word because like everyone has schedules. So
Yeah, that's true.
there is maybe 50 I didn't reach out that they were not available, but I will have love on those. But there will be more Swat Kats. So probably in the next issues. But yeah, it's a combo. It's a combo of like obviously we live in a world. It's not just talent now. It's also following on social media. It's also like we will bring fans to it. Obviously, with Swat Kats, it's no secret. Like the fan base of like, for example, the Turtles is pretty much the same. If you take TMNT and Swat Kats, there is a lot of crossover. So I was, I did dig into like the fan base of the Turtles. Like we did really great covers there that fans might remember. For example, Mirka Hindolfo, she has like crazy following on social media, but also she do books that are characters that's kind of like that vibe of Callie from Swat Kats. So it's just a combo of like trying to do strategy around it that obviously you versus the cost of the cover, what's going to be like the return on investment with the following, the statue of the creators as well. And also like most of the time it's something I say a lot. Like I talk about following shit, but like the most important thing, you can have the biggest artist in the world, but if the concept of the cover is not good, unknown artist with the best concept will all sell any big name. I've seen that a lot, especially in my traditional market more than Kickstarter. Traditional market, I've done covers with no names, but they did a concept that was so great that they sold thousands of copies, and you can have like a big name not even going over 1,000 on the same book.
Yeah.
So it's all part of that. It's all about the vibe and finding the right tone and the right composition for covers.
And so for Neil Adams, I see we had this Neil Adams cover.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Now, when you is this from something like since you license it, they say, hey, we have this in the vault. This is something we can use. This is something that they brought up to you that you discovered, or how did you figure out this is a great cover that I could use? Because Neil Adams, of course, isn't with us anymore.
Yeah, no, that was wild. I was talking with the Tremblay Bros, the creator of Swat Kat, and they said, we have a comic book guy in the 90s that did like some promotional piece. I was like, whoo, and they say Neil Adams. I'm like, holy, we need to find a way to use that. It will be incredible. And so we did talk with the estate. So his daughter, and she was kind to give us the green light. So we share the money with the estates and stuff. So it's all approved. It's all like a teamwork to bring that to life. Because like those pieces never been brought to light. It was just like something internal at Warner Brothers in the time back then when they did the show. It's a first comic book of Swat Kat. There was no way that we were not putting a Neil Adams piece on it. Like you represent comics, so
yeah.
So that's just crazy. I can't wait to hold that book in my hand and have my name on a Neil Adams cover.
Yeah, it looks absolutely sick. And then I see you had so many limited editions. Is that something that you see now from doing, something that is just straight crowdfunding, that you doing these limited tiers, like a foil edition limited to 100, a metal edition? These are really what help you get to that next level, into that, that 100,000. Of course, the cover has to look good, of course, and the IP has to be great. Do you think these were a big help as well?
For sure, because with Kickstarter, there is already like a time limit to get the product. If there is a limitation on it, comic book, like it or not, it's always been a big part of it. Comic books are currency for a lot of people. So like it's an investment for long term. And when like a publisher or a producer like me and you decide to put like a book limited in 100 copy, it's an issue 1. That's a super safe investment as a fan and as an investor in a property. Obviously you're not buying share of the property or the IP or whatever, but comic book is as close as you can get into like investing in an IP. If I buy a ticket for the next, Star Wars or whatever, I have no return. Comic book is the only form of like art and that you actually get a return on investment for the property that it is. So I think as a producer on a comic book, you need to be sure that like the people that are really ready to invest in it and take a gamble with you, because it's really a gamble to buy an issue one, that they have this return investment. I could have done like all the foil, no limits and go for it. But I think that like putting a limit on it really just like show all you are committed, and trust that like your book will go to the next level of like potential investment. Maybe like in 5 years, that's going to be a $300, $400, $500 book. And, and that's the thank you to the backer, to me. And comic book always been that way. And I think that's the way to do it. I think, you just need limited product, for that reason.
Yeah, so the limited product that popped, the covers popped, the artists were sick. It's great that you got that Neil Adams cover, and it's great that you also clarify that too, because people from the outside don't know that you got his estate involved. You say, hey, this is this, instead of like there's always stories that someone gets a sketch cover at like New York Comic Con or something, and they put it on their book. So it's that's awesome. It's the professional way to be done, and it's exciting to have that in the hand, which is really cool. And so the cover aspect. Now, the interior, you said you got that artist, and he was excited because, he was involved in the show as well.
Grew up in the show, yeah.
Now, how many pages is issue one?
It's a 40 pages, and we did unlock some stretch goal to have like a 2 short stories. It's going to be like about 48, so it's a full double size book, so it's pretty thick for an issue, yeah.
And on top of that, so of course it pops, the artwork pops, everything's going well, it's an existing IP. Now the marketing aspect of it, do you do a lot of things through social? Is it through, because you have such great talent, that the word of mouth really picked it up? What do you think was that marketing aspect that really helped it get successful as well?
Yeah, well, it's a mix of factor. Obviously, like there is a quality of the book. Warwick Corona on the art, the covers really help. But I think one thing, with the Swat Kats, especially the fan base is like, it's one of the best I ever seen. And I know everyone says that about the thing that they work on, but I truly believe it. Like, over the years, it's been 32 years since the show. And there is like really fans and the reason it's coming back, that has been pushing to keep this IP alive, posting every day about it for over 30 years. Just thinking about, Matt that runs swatcat.info. He's the one that really like has a website with all the info about Swat Kat. He's been doing podcasts about it for years, and on social media he talks about it. On Facebook he has 50,000 followers. And you've been a great help, and also the fans are so excited and happy for the Swat Kat to come back, and that's why we have like a big responsibility to do a great book, that they've just been sharing and really doing everything to make it happen in a big way. Because we share a common goal that the Swat Kat's going to be back, and that we can keep doing those books and more. And great targeting ads that we did for the campaign. I think social media as well, the graphic design and everything. But yeah, mostly it's the community itself. And it goes back to like why I like this model. It's just, to me, it's just finding the right IPs and the right product that it's not that an IP for doing an IP or a licensed IP, because like a lot of publishers would do that, just like they have an opportunity to sign an IP, they're gonna do the license, go as cheap as possible on the art, but they know because it's a license, they're gonna break even or make the money, and good, we're cool. But to me, and that's why I'm going with this model, is just like I want to do stuff that matters to people, and that they've been waiting for it. The question is like, when you release it, you announce it, I want to hear the questions like, why no one did that before? And that's when I know I succeeded at my goal. And I think that's where success is. Like, I don't see the point of doing, 400 books a year and feeling I'm just like making product. I'm not making product. I'm making something that matter. I'm making emotion. I'm making art. I just want to give something that bring more to the market and just like another license on the shelf. There's no point to that. Like, that's all we destroy industry. That's all we destroy dreams, passion that, like that's the destroyer of our industry in a way. And I don't want to be part of that.
You're coming from a consumer standpoint. Like, I feel like it's the exact same way. Like, the books that I try to make sure that I would read it myself. Otherwise, why do it at all? And why not do something else with it? And the art is really what pops. Like, pulling this back up, the interior art looks absolutely crazy. It pops. It has a vibe to it. You see the vibe. The layout's perfect too, even though how you did these backgrounds, it's a nice touch that really, keeps you in tuned, with everything that you have here. The cover, because the cover A artist does the interiors, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a rule I always do as well. I feel like that's like the biggest scam ever, is like when you grab a great book and you open the first page, and this is before I knew anything, and I was like, oh my God, this cover, and it was like an Alex Ross cover. I'm like, I can't wait to go in, and you go in, it's like some doodles, and you're like, no, you need to see what's here needs to be in here, at least for the cover A. Of course, cover B, C, etc. limited. Like, this pops. This is so cool. You got a little flashback scenario here, and the layouts are absolutely sick. Now, I know they've never written comic books before, correct?
Well, the creators of the show did not write the script. It's really just like, initial brainstorm, concept, like concept art and stuff like that. Really on the writing, it's me and Frank.
Okay.
And just like they did concept art and kind of like, outline or like whatever. But, like the comics is fully done by, comic book creators.
So this is sick. It's clearly well done. Because that was going to be my question, because I know you said you guys co-created. So it's good you mastermind with them, and then you really took control of it. And you see everything flows. Everything looks perfect. Nothing too overdoing it. And the artwork is absolutely stellar. These interior pages is sick. And this is like what, in the beginning of the story, midway through the story, is just a flashback?
Right at the beginning. That's the beginning of the book, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it looks so sick. It pops. And even for people that don't know the IP, they clearly grabbed onto it, getting you, that 6,540 backers, which is a sick number. And of course, with a number like this, and when the product comes, when do you plan on shipping the product out?
It's gonna be like end of March, April, around that, because like we did unlock like a pretty big stretch goal of doing like a crazy motion comics with voice actor from the original show coming back. So we are working on the logistics of the production of that. So I think, and we sold so many Blu-rays too. Like that's the thing. When we did the motion comics, we're like, oh, we want a physical. I'm a physical media guy, so I was like, I want a Blu-ray edition of that. So we are producing all that. So I think everything's gonna be ready. And ship for sure. Beginning of April max.
Now, when you go into this Kickstarter, because my approach usually is I have 80 to 90% of it done, so you don't have to have that long wait time. How much percentage were you in? Like, was this book complete going into this campaign?
I think with this book, we are right now like inking all the pages. So the pages were all sketched; they were all ready to go. It's really like the inking. The thing is different with this book, since we were working with a big name artist. It's not my schedule is scheduled, because that guy, Warwick Corona has project probably until like 2037, so you fill in the blank. So we did all the scheduling together and make it happen. So we kind of reverse engineering a couple of stuff. Like the book is already like fully lettered on on the pencil and stuff like that, and we kind of like moving the pieces around. And this campaign was also like a lot of like goodies and we have T-shirts, we have posters, we have hoodies and stuff like that. So obviously all that was already produced, but we were so the production was always like ongoing, and it's still ongoing. But that campaign is different than normally what I do, just because like it was such a big scale. That it's hard to put like a percentage on it.
Now, for the merch and stuff like that, did you see a lot of merch that people are just coming to buy a shirt? Is they buying the shirt with the comic book? What was it that? Because you do have a lot of merch options. Yeah. I feel like it's a giant store. Like, we're necessarily looking at a 100%. Giant store here.
100%. No, I can't. I don't have like the exact percentage of like backers did not get the book, but the way that we did build a campaign, it's still like the comic book campaign. So you needed to buy the book to get
Copy.
the comics, to get the merchandise. Obviously, we did open like the add-on store that you could have done like just the merchandise, but also the thing is like the hardcover edition of the issue with 20 pages of bonus content inside as well. So that will be the Kickstarter is the only way to get it. So I think that's the reason why too. Like that was our way to be sure like people actually grab the book and doesn't wait later or whatever. Like go for it, support this project. The way to support it is like to grab this hardcover book and have like one of the first edition. All the backer names going to be in it too. So there will be like 6,000 something people credited in it. So that's kind of like that's the big value of it. It's just like you're getting something that hits for that campaign, and you need to grab it.
Now, and there's still late pledges. So all these things, This is currently right now. This is, December 17th. We are live and you could still pledge. And do you have a certain time frame on how long you're going to keep this open? Is this kind of just going to be like your storefront for now?
Gonna close like first week of January, and again, I'm gonna transfer to Backer Kit for all the pledge manager. So that one gonna close first week, and we're gonna open the other one first week. So you can still jump on Backer Kit after if you missed the late pledge on Kickstarter. But also that we want like the existing backer, because like there was so many products. Obviously, like everyone has like a limitation of like of wallet, like if myself, I see like I will be a fan of something like that, and I go to a campaign like this, I will be like, fuck, I don't have the money to buy everything I want. And we wanted to be really conscious of that, because like obviously you want to respect the fan base, you want to be sure that like everyone has a chance to get what they want to get. So that's why we did not like open the backer kit now and put your thing again. Like there is the holidays, let's wait. And like January, like hey, you can add again, you can add more stuff to your basket if you want. And so backer kit gonna be there, and there will be a chance for everyone to take another cover, add a t-shirt or whatever, and really like build their final package.
Copy. We do have some people in the chat. They asked a couple questions. We'll take a look at that. We have Bouchard Chris. What up? With him being the first comment on the stream, you get a wonderful shots out of nowhere. You're welcome. So Bouchard Chris, hello there. Can't wait for this Swat Kats comic, and I'm glad that I backed the project.
Awesome. Thank you, man. We'll do our best for you to enjoy this book. We were working on it. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. We got the buttons ready, dude. We kept it classy in the beginning. First half hour strong. We have Swat Kats. I don't know if this is it says at Swat Kats, so clearly a fanner. Did you find it challenging to match the tone/style of the story, beats and characters from the show to faithfully adapt that for the comic book medium?
Yes and no. Obviously, that's a challenge. I think we have like 18 drafts of the book. So we did write a lot of version of that script. But the thing that we were blessed is actually having the creators of the show with us in the production process. So it's not like a traditional license that you make the book as faithful as you think. No, we are working directly with the guys that made the show. So it's sure that's faithful in every ways, because they're reading, making all the notes, and we got to the 18th draft that way too. It's just like, okay, we're making the tone. But the thing with Swat Kats that make it really easy to translate to comics is the show was already having, like the show has a comic book issue pacing to it. The show is so fast, the pace is really quick, and every episode, is just like the Swat Kats, something happened in the city, they go vigilante, they fight with the villain of the episodes, and at the end, a resolution, like a comic book. It's really the same formula, like a lot of show back in the 90s, but the pacing of Swat Kats, what makes Swat Kats really interesting, it's so fast. It's like turning pages of a comic book, a really well made comic book that like every page turn is a new action, something that you're like, oh fuck, it's going on. And that's the same way with Swat Kats. The show it's so quick, it's never stopped. There is always a new thing every frame, and that's the quality to me of any good comic books. When you flip the page, something happened. You feel like every 2 pages is kind of a short story that stand on its own and work as a really exciting piece of entertainment. And to me, that's what makes Swat Kats. It was the same way. It's every 10 seconds feel like a short film of action that works on its own and super fast paced to actually the conclusion of the episodes. And that's what makes the charm in Swat Kats. I think that's why it's so different in all the other anthropomorphic shows or any action shows from the 90s, cartoon wise. That was it. Was really the pace and the action.
Awesome. Are you, Kevin, are you a pro wrestling fan or are you a UFC fan? What's the fan for you?
I'm not tired. I follow UFC. I follow wrestling. I've been more and more into wrestling recently, but since the pandemic, I'm one of those that kind of like with Logan Paul and the pandemic really got into it.
Yeah, nice.
So I like it. I'm not tired, but I like it. I do follow it. I do watch it.
You would say more pro wrestling.
Yeah, but I still watch most of the card of the UFC. So
okay, so we watch more UFC. So Swat Kats, thank you so much for commenting. This one's for you.
Brought to you by Modelo.
There we go.
Or Ben.
having a great time. We got another comment. Say what up. We got Tiago Neves. Been a fan of the show since it first aired, and I find it amazing that 30 years later, the fandom has kept it still alive.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being around, man.
Thank you, and this one's for you. Out of nowhere, dude. We do it out of nowhere. But yeah, it's a super crazy success. You know, $700,000 is no joke. And that you found out that this was the largest single issue of all time. Is that something Kickstarter alerted you on? Is that something that, you guys just discovered on your own or?
So I was looking on Kickstarter at like the top, comic book section, doing like most popular or whatever when you look into it. And I was looking at all the campaigns over us. I'm like, they're all graphic novels.
Summer compendiums.
Yeah. So I reached out to Kickstarter and I'm like, hey, are we the biggest Kickstarter campaign of all time? I see there is a Brian Pulido Coffin Comics campaign at 536 or whatever. That was the previous record, right? And Kickstarter replied to me, yeah, we'll look at our data just to be 100% sure. So they go through their data and they confirm to me. So it's really like confirmed by Kickstarter, even part of our press release for it. Kickstarter had a comment in it. So it's really official from Kickstarter, not just us being like, oh yeah, we think we have it. It's really Kickstarter told us like, you got it, So it's wild, man. It's a crazy achievement. And I did an update to tell the backers, and what we will do is send like a record certificate to everyone. So kind of, everyone going to get their, Rocker Guinness type thing. Because it's because of the backers. Like, it's not me that did it. It's them that did go nuts and make it happen.
You're reestablishing a community that hasn't had a product in a long time. Now, with such a big success, and that's why I was curious on where you're at with it. Is issue 2 in production? Is that something you see for 2026? Is it something you see for 2027? What is the next step for that? Or actually, is it a licensing deal for a certain amount of issues?
So we are right now, working on the next books. And I will say books with an ass. Like, it's not just like one other issue or series or whatever. We're figuring out, I'm making the plan right now of like what's going to be the scope, what we want to do. So I think it's going to be like an early next year. We're going to have like a really more flesh out plan. We had already like the plan done for all the, for the issues that will come after what we just did on Kickstarter. But, with the reception and looking at what the fans are asking for, we want to do more, having another mini series, maybe another type of comic books. We are figuring out what we're going to offer and what we're going to produce. But yeah, no, we obviously we will be stupid to not, give more to the fans and not, on the business side of thing too, is like, you don't want to stop when you get a success like that. You answer the demand. So we are working on it right now to find like the right approach, the right project, the right stories as well to bring to the fans, just because they want it. So we'll give it.
So with this specific story, and I know you said the TV show has the similar type of beats. Is this comic book does it have its beginning, middle, and end? Like, is it like something that you could read and you have the full thing? Of course, there could be things that continue, but is it like a full story? you would say?
Yeah, so all we did think about it was really like the format of the show. So the comic book is like one episode, that like
Correct.
beginning and end, but at the end there is a little something that teases to the next battle, the next episode, and whatever. So there is a small continuity, but you could read just that one. And we, for that series in particular, we're gonna keep that format. We wanted to be like as close as possible to the original show, because it's a continuity of it. We really did like the 90s version of the Swat Kats with this one. And so yeah, that's episode 1 of Swat Kat Comics, episode 2, episode 3. So we're kind of doing a season in a way for them. And it really felt like an episode, and wanted to keep the format and not just like finish on a cliffhanger and the story really continue. Like, yeah, there is a little thing that will tie to the next one, but you could just grab that one and feel like you have a full thing.
Now, from that standpoint, that you established something that worked with the team, I know your artist is super busy. Is he looking to be planned on issue 2? Is that something you're seeing, or you might have to go another route because he's so busy to keep a similar tone, or how does that work?
So that was the plan from the beginning. We have like a structure, and I don't want to spoil too much, but like we have, it's part of the plan of having like multiple artists. That's what we wanted for Swat Kats since day one, of like bringing different version of it visually and really like showing what's the potential actually of like different style on Swat Kats, because like we have 30 years to catch up. and we want to find a different vibe. We want to give the beauty of Swat Kats, not just like the Swat Kat itself. It's really a universe with like some really great characters in it. So the villains are amazing. We want to do stuff just for the villains. We have characters like Callie and Felicity, and characters that really deserve their spotlight as well. So we want to find tones and art style for each that make it super interesting, and that every episode as well that can have like a different tone. For example, I don't know, we do a comics with Dr. Viper. Well, do we go for an art style that really fit more that villain and dig into it? So it's just really exciting, because like you said, we are kind of building, well, we are building the comic book language of the Swat Kats. Never been done before. So it's super fun to be doing the foundation of that and finding the right elements to make the best version of it. So
yeah, it's definitely a cool standpoint. Have the art match the story in the same similar format, and I'm very excited to see who you'd be bringing on next, because clearly $700,000 campaign, that artist will be very thrilled to be on the second issue of this campaign. It's the biggest issue. Like you said, there's certain people, they're doing 100,000 plus sales in direct in stores, but direct consumer, this is the biggest thing Kickstarter has seen. And I do feel like the direct consumer is the market where things will always continue to go. Of course, there'll be comic shops, but everything is just so in your face, on your phone, on the screen, to just have something and swipe the same way you order an Amazon package. It's the same way with this, but now you're a part of it and you're building that community. That's such a great thing that you're giving everyone like that world record thing. It's just like that one more step of like building this community that will stay with you, for the next issues to come, and hopefully even bigger than this one, because it really caught fire. Now you have all these actors involved, and you have this motion comic, so it's a major success. And I know that you said you're possibly looking at other licenses as well. Was something with another license, is it something that you're looking for, like with a similar aspect of like had its core base but hasn't been touched in a long time? What's your process now looking for a new license?
I mean, we already signed some, some of one or two, let's say. But yeah, no, kind of in the same way, like stuff that I feel like should exist, should be like ongoing right now, that has a fan base, that the fan base is asking for it, that should exist. Like, to me, that like I would feel like if I have the opportunity to do it, I will feel bad that I don't do it, because I'm like, this thing should exist. So I'm really going for the same approach. Does it mean I think like every other thing going to be that huge? No, I think that's just, we even me, I could not expect this level of success on it. Like that was not my expectation. So replicating that, maybe not. If we can, that will be awesome, but I'm not, like, this is not the goal, but yeah, no, it's all IPs, not necessarily in the same tone or vibe or universe. It's not I'm not just going for like the 90s cartoon stuff. It could be like a video game IP that is actually rated R, but to me that the fan base is there and that there is something to do with it in the comic book form that will be really interesting. I'm really going to touch. I'm not like sticking to one genre. I see like I don't see my production company as like, oh, we're gonna do like just one type of thing. It's really just like, oh yeah, this thing, I see the potential, I see the vision. Let's do that. And you can, and because I just as a
I think I lost you for a second. Did they lose me, or did I lose Kevin? Kevin, did I lose you? Anyone in the chat, let me know. Did I lose Kevin? Remove him for a second. See if I could get him back in here or add him back in. Let's see. I see the screen is black. Hopefully we can get him back on momentarily. But we're picking Kevin's brain. He has the largest Kickstarter of all time. And he is with a whooping, let's pull it up. With a whooping 734,753 $753 with a $40,000 goal, 6,540 backers. Absolutely sick. Awesome to hear. Let's see if we can get him back in here. Let me just shoot him a quick text so he knows that I'm still here. Oh, let's see. Hey, and he is back.
I don't know what happened. I think there is constriction outside, so I think someone dumb probably cut something. Electricity and shit did shut down. That's back, but the internet is not back yet. But yeah, so I'm
now
back.
With Kevin being back. We didn't give him the proper intro. We're halfway through. We should have got the intro for him in the beginning. So this is for Kevin. Boom, and he is back. He is here with us, ready to go. We do have a couple comments.
Awesome.
Comics going to be tune in next week, same cat time, same cat channel from @Swat Kats.
100%. That's the vibe.
And then Paul, are you a fan of Swat Kats? So Swat Kats was before my time. I'm a young stallion in this race, so I did not watch the TV show when I was of young age. I know about the IP, and this is the crazy. I know about the IP because of your Kickstarter, and because when you told me what the
that's the goal.
Doing.
That's probably part of the goal of what we are doing. Like the goal with the Tremblay Bros right now is to bring back Swat Kat on air, a new show. And the way that you do it, yes, you can bank on the existing audience, the people that watched the show back then. But the way that you will convince any broadcasters or streamers, it's like, does the IP has legs to actually bring a new audience to it? Can you do it? Can you have you like a track record data that actually it's not just like the people that saw it back then. It's actually like, can we create a second wave of fans? And that was the number one goal with Kickstarter. Was not even the money. It's like, hey, we want to reach a maximum of backers possible. That we can use that as a tool to help the making of the new TV show. So airing that's the number one goal. I want to talk to people that did not watch the show. That's the goal number one. I want to speak to people that did not watch the show. I want to turn them into fans with a comic book, one comic back, one comic, and bring that show back.
Because I definitely think it is. Because you said this was the early 90s, right? It was probably like 93, 94, right?
Yeah, 93, 94, exactly, actually.
Yeah, so in that, I was born in 1997. So now when I see this thing and I saw it and I thought it popped, it had the artwork, it has the style. And then when you see all of the amazing things that follow it from this fan base, people are more inclined to jump in versus another Kickstarter that might be on there. It really did very, very well compared to everything that currently was on. You did a 30-day raise, right?
Yep, correct.
Yeah, dude. Sick stuff, and you have so much experience. You've walked into it knowing so much more than you have before. You've done other Kickstarters. I know you did the this is the one I remember, but it was through your old company. I did the Zorro one that you did was super cool. I remember getting that, and it had the same type of feel to it in a sense of like the extra stuff, you know, and now you're bringing that to the next level, which is really cool, you know. So more Kickstarters, definitely grab this Kickstarter. We have another comment, buddy of mine, Genuine Comics. Hello, Paul and Kevin. Greetings, chat. Hello.
Awesome.
David Brink.
Thanks.
He's a fellow
Yeah,
indie
no, I
creator.
remember they actually started around the same time. Like I remember all the Facebook group and talking about like comics and shit. So it's great. I hope you're doing well, man.
Yeah. And with you being here, you get an awesome intro.
I'm Marvel Jesus, you dull creature, and I will not.
Whoa, right back. Don't worry, they ain't gonna get me. It's a short clip. But yeah, super cool. I'm excited to see what's on the horizon. Now, when you're creating and when you're writing, what is your writing process like in a sense? You know, is it, how are you breaking it down? Are you writing a short little summary of what's going on? Do you dive into a full script in multiple drafts? Like how you said you got to like 16 or 18 drafts. What is your writing process, you know, going into writing any comic book in particular?
Yeah, it's sure. You know, if you start, well, even original IPs, like the first thing I do, you know, if it's a licensed IP, what I will do is like really rewatch the episodes, really dig into it, look at the fan base, what they're looking for from like old tweets or fan arts online, trying to really understand. And that's just, you know, my marketing sense. My background before doing comics is marketing. So I always have like this approach of like, you know, give, and that's something that like a lot of people in comics, I think, forget. Is like, you know, give what the fans want, but still tell the story you want to tell. Because I think that like in anything is possible. And we see it with some really great, and we saw it with some really great blockbuster this year, that you can really tell the story you want to do. And it's always all you sell, your movie or comics. You can do the biggest art house thing, but if it's sold well and you tell the people what, you know, like you make it accessible in the communication, the perspective and the way that people see your product is totally different. You know, like if you tell anyone like a movie like Weapon could do $400 million at the box office, no one would say yes. It's impossible. But they did it just because of the marketing, and all we did is structure the release. And it's the same thing with comics. You know, if you start with selling to the audience that your comics is pretentious, is like a slow burn, and you use words like that, that won't work. And or if you use, for example, you tell people it's a story about like a son and a dad finding emotional bond, and you know, yeah, it could be that, but that's not your selling point. That's just like what you're, you know, you that's what you're telling through your characters, but that's not the story of the comics that people care about. They will care when they read it, but you need to hook first. So the first step for me is really understanding what's going to be the envelope that makes what you want to talk about, you know, accessible to anyone, and make it like fun and really like something that transcend the audience. And that's through research. You really need to understand even if it's an original like comic. If you're making, you know, something that's kind of like a Friday the 13th thing, well, you need to watch movies, read books, look what has been done. And because like creating something great and original is combining stuff that already exists. We're not at a time that you will create something fully original. It's impossible. Our brain or sponge for information, especially at the TikTok era of things that like you watch 200 videos a day. You're a liar if you say that you're not influenced by anything that you watch, even if it's not related to creation. We are all influenced all the time, every second. So just like being a good creator is actually be a good editor, a good film editor in a way, not comic editor, because it's really taking the best of stuff and making the right puzzle that make a great combination. That on the page the flow is great. On you kind of when I find the combo that I want to do that bring the story together and make it like feel like something that you've never seen before, in the addition of like the thing that I decided to pick, then I go to do an outline. If I know it's a 24 pages book, well, I'm going to do like page 1 line, page 2 1 line, and kind of like just do the full breakdown. And then, you know, look if the pacing is good. You know, it's easy. when you did comics and comics even as a reader, it will be really easy for like if you have page 1, page 2, page 4, you can see it in your mind like, okay, cool, the flow is working. We can't do it that way, and then I turn those one sentence into like small paragraph for the page description, and put the panels and dialogue after, but really expand that. But no, I never go directly to script, because to me, comic book is all about like doing the right film editing to it first, and then like expanding the script. And I would not do it the other way around, because like I think it's really easy to get lost in a flow of writing and just be like, oh fuck, that doesn't work, and now you're page 17 and you need to restart the whole thing, So if you did the full pacing before, there will be no issue, because you're just extending what you already add. So you're adding gravy to make it fun and better. So yeah, no, I'm really, that's my process personally. And you, what's your process?
So wait, one more time.
What's your process? I'm curious.
So my process is sometimes I let it flow, in a sense of, if I have the concept of what I want to do, I write out kind of like a little thing of what it's going to be. Like in the beginning of like, if I write, like, I'll give an example. I'll do project analysis 10, the title, and what I need from this book, and whatever I need from this book. And I try to match those beats as I'm writing it. Majority of the time, I start from page 1 and push. And I just try to push forward into the story and find myself into the story, and then make adjustments through. And then after that first draft, I see what really works from that layout, and then take the best pieces and try to format it with what works and what doesn't work. Because I'm not married to the script either. So like my first run through, even that I give it to the artist, soon as I get the artwork back, and I would assume it's maybe the same for you, is I'll change the words depending on how the art is laid out on the page. Because you have to change it. And not so many people, at least even when I did my first book, were so married to it, in a sense of like, oh my God, I can't change this. No, you have to change it to be that perfect editor, like you said, to make sure it flows through each beat. So, I think of the initial thing of what I want to do in the issue, and then I go in and try to push through and try to find that muse through the story. And I do it by panel. Sometimes, before I go in, if I can't think of the fight scene right away, I'll just write fight scene on the page and then get to the next page to keep that flow going. I also make sure from the beginning that I know where my page turns are. So I know by the, 2, 3, that's one set. I make sure by page 3, you can turn and get to the next page, and so forth, versus, I kind of was just writing into the muse. Now I'm trying to do it in an aspect of like, how can we indice, the reader the whole time?
Yeah, 100%. That's the way to go. Beside like the script part of it, like I have the same vision and process of like all to make it happen.
Yeah, it's easy. At least it's easy for me. I've been more in detail in sense of like my first script, I was like writing like panel 1. It's like all this information. And then my first book I did, it was with Corey Hampshire. He did something what he felt, and it worked better, same concept, same thing. And then I was like, hey, I got to be a little more looser on these descriptions, because I can't, you can't be married to it. Of course, the vision's the vision, but comic books is a visual medium. And to get that visual medium, it has to lead from the artist.
Yeah, the artist is the film director on the project. So if you need to, like, if you're not satisfied with your pages, that's something I always said to people. I know it's hard, to decide, but like always start with like, okay, the paneling, the sketch and stuff like that. And you can normally like with Instagram and everything, you already see like the work and the flow of an artist. But sometimes, just like if you don't feel like satisfied when you get a page without comment from an artist, it's maybe because you don't have like the right film director for your project,
Yeah, 100%. Every artist is different. Some artists need more information, some artists need less. And I've done tons of one shots, and I'm doing tons of different things with the main series project analysis. And we just did this new thing, Lethal Leopard, and they're all in different aspects. And now I honestly did my first, because I'm publishing, but I also write and edit the majority of the books. I did sign talent on to do something to like kind of like in a way licensing out one of my characters for them to write in the story. And I see that aspect of it, and that's another fun thing to do as well, and just play that like backhand editor. So it's a different approach of just going through and just trying to sculpt things with that same beat that I'm saying that I didn't really know from the get, which is like 2, 3, 4, 5, and you know where the things are going. So you really understand the script while you're going, so you don't write something so great and then you have to change it because the double page splash doesn't make sense, you know? So check in the chat real quick. Genuine Comics, I'm impressed with your success, Kevin. Well done, man. Thank you.
Thanks, David. Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have ScottyRude.com with fire peace sign. What is up, Scotty? Nice to hear from you. And with your first time ever being here, you'll get one of these. That one's for you. We got 2 questions in the chat. So, Kevin, when you're writing, you start composing the scenes first based off your idea, and then you think of angles, punchlines, dialogue, and then finally you expand on it?
Yeah. Personally, like I know it's not necessarily good to say that as a comic book writer, but like to me, I really see comics as movie scenes. I think that like, because like, I think when I watch a movie, to me, it's really visual. And sometimes a lot of comic book writers, I feel, they really think about words and like really describing the scene and doing all that. But, you know, like if you watch for example, a John Wick movie, what made them great is actually the combination of scenes and visual and what they're going to do next. And to me, comics, all I like my comics, and I actually like my movies really differently, but like all I like comics is all about the pacing and the turn page. I don't like, even if like I grew up with the French comics, but I don't really like a lot of stuff from the French market because like it's just talking heads, and that's so fucking boring to me. Comics need to flow, and that's and the way that it flows, it's really important that each time you turn a page, you are impressed by something. You're like, oh shit, that's cool. And that's the goal to me, just like really finding the right visuals ideas before finding the right word ideas. That like every time a reader turned the page, they're like, oh, they did that? That's freaking crazy. I've never seen that thing. Or just like, oh, that's clever that they did that, you know, think about doing this thing at that moment and whatever. Really, the wow effect is the most important. So that's the first thing I think about is like, what's going to be the good combination that make a wow effect each time that you turn the pages or you look at a panel, you're like, oh, that's cool that they did that. You know, instead of just like punching into something, well, and that's why the Swat Kats are great and perfect for that. Like the Swat Kat will never just like throw a punch to a villain. They're going to take like a crazy gadget out of nowhere and find a combination that you did not see coming. And to me, that's what good comics are. It's not just like, you know, if Batman was just fighting with his fists all the time, there will be no reason to actually still making comics, Batman comics. And that's why the absolute Batmans are great right now. They found a way to actually do that. Batman now has a hatchet or whatever on his chest, and the first time the first time you do that on the first comic, pick up the axe and shit, you're like, oh wow, you were not expecting that as a reader, and that's why those comics are so great. They're really applying that wall rule to it. Of just like, you don't know what's going to be next because you go into the craziest combinations possible that still fit into the story, because there is always a danger of like just doing crazy for doing crazy, and you're just like, it doesn't work. So you lose the reader that way. So it's finding the right balance, but it's all about like the visuals, what's going to happen. It's a visual medium, if not write novels, you know? So to me, that's the most important. And after you figure out the words and what's going to come with your visual composition of like scene to scene.
Dude, super sick. Thank you for expanding on that. We do have another question, and I know you got to get out of here, super busy guy. Genuine Comics, would you say that no matter how good the book is, marketing is the strongest factor in the book's success or failure?
Oh, 100%. I mean, you can make the best book, you can make the best movie, you can make the best song, but if there is no marketing around, no one will know about your masterpiece. That's just and especially now, you know, there is so many products, there is so many noise, it's a crazy word. Even if you do like the best marketing push, well, your post or your marketing activation 10 minutes after it's expired. So that's the challenge. But it's not about making, the most noise all the time. To me, it's really finding the right angle for every product. Not all the same, not all the same. The books are the same and should be promoted the same. Not all IP should be promoted the same way. But I think everything, or if not, you should revise what you're working on and what you're creating. But it's really important that, like, when you start something, what's going to be the marketing end goal and know the type of audience that you're targeting. It's like, okay, I'm making this thing. Well, I know that, like, this character doing that is the money shot, is the thing I need to use in the covers, in the promotion, what's I need to push, what's the angle, what's the, the vulgarization in marketing most of the time when we talk about IPs is like, how do you sell your IP in one sentence? That is, for example, you take, Jaws meet Attack of the Titan, for example. But, like, how do you show that in one image to convince that those fan bases that's your IP? And you need to be able to sell that without a word attached to it, and that people understand directly that's what you're selling, and that they are the target. And yeah, that's all about, like, planning your thing and figuring out the approach and style and what's the visual language. I think that's the most important thing. A lot of people just post cover. It's great to post a cover image, but that's not what's going to sell your book. You need to have a story around it. I think that's one of the problem in comics, and why a lot of indie comics doesn't do well. It's creators think that their property is actually the product. No, the creator is the product in any comic. So if you're not selling yourself, you're not, like, really building a story around you, there is no reason to support. The market is already floated, especially if you compare to a Kickstarter book than a retail book. The retail book is $3.99, $4.99. So I have no reason to buy your $15, $20 book on Kickstarter. Give me a reason. And that's the biggest problem with people selling indie comic books. They don't give a reason for the buyer to actually buy it, to care about it. Like, we know the economy right now, it's harder and harder to make a living, to have, like, money for entertainment. So the first thing that everyone caught, it's not food, it's entertainment. Like, especially now, you're not just fighting against other comic book creators, you're fighting about the free Netflix, because everyone treated that way, even if they have a subscription. So in comic book is, and I'm not saying that in a bad way, is to the consumer point, casual people, is an inferior medium in terms of, like, consuming, because, like, as a consumer, you turn your brain off, you just put Netflix on and you wait. But comic book has an effort to it. You need to grab the book, you need to read every panel, you need to be it's certain concentration, you need to read. So it's already harder to sell something that you don't need to turn, that your brain is on when you consume it. So that's why, to a consumer, it's already, like, an inferior choice to do. So you're already starting, like, with two strike at the bat. But it's really building your story and why they should care to give your money. Like, why are you making this book? Why does book need to exist? Why it matter that much to you, and why they should care about you and not the billions of people on that planet. Because it's even if you have, like, 10 backers or 10 customers, it's fucking insane to think that, like, there is 10 people decided to give money to you, and not one of those giant corporate that give product that they don't need their brain to consume, and easy to access. So it's one backer, it's one customer by customer, and it's really just, like, giving a reason to consume. Like, why should they care? That's always the artist, but that's what the marketing is, actually, more than your book itself. Like, people doesn't care about your characters. They don't even know what the fuck it is. And that's the oddly truth about it. It's like, your IP is not odd, so make yourself odd.
Yeah. And to piggyback on that, as we wrap up, literally, that's why I started live streaming. It's because in conventions, I make 10, 15K a convention, no problem. But I was seeing it as, yes, the product is amazing. It looks cool. It looks great. It pops.
But it's not enough.
It's not enough. And I noticed, what is the key factor selling all these things? It's me doing it, so now I'm like, hey, let's get things rolling. Let's bring this product to the next level. you got to become your own brand. And that's the only way to stand out in any market. And
Yep.
that's something that you're doing very well. And you got Swat Kats to be the biggest Kickstarter for a single issue of all time. And it's super crazy to see. And I'm super happy for your success and excited to see what is next for you. And when there is that next, we'd love to have you back on and chat, and we can dive in more.
Pleasure, man.
As we, went through Swat Kats, we went through creative process, went through so many things. So for all the people watching on the rerun, thank you for checking us out. For the people watching live, thank you so much. And of course, thank you, Kevin, for giving me your time out of your busy schedule to talk about your amazing success with over $700,000 raised on Kickstarter.
It's a pleasure. Well, thanks to everyone that did back the project, and we will do everything to make the best book as possible, and and Swat Kats for life, man, and continue and never stop if possible.
Yeah, never will stop. Clearly, with the success, we won't. So, the guys, thank you so much, and have this amazing outro. And I will see you guys next
Thank you.
time.
Bye bye.
And that's all, folks.